Hey, welcome to Bryce Unplugged. Happy Saturday. Grab a coffee. Let's have a chat. Because I honestly, wanted to do this today because we had another good week on the channel. The podcast, the videos, the comments, the conversations, the message, all of it. And I know I say good week. With Parkinson's, good doesn't always mean easy. Sometimes a good week means people showed up in the comments and said, me too. Sometimes a good week means someone finally had words for something they've been living with for years. Sometimes a good week means maybe a care partner heard something and thought, okay, maybe I've been trying to help in a way that's adding pressure. And sometimes a good week means YouTube actually did something useful instead of recommending videos about pressure washing driveways at 2 a.m, which, to be fair, I'd probably still watch. but this week felt like one of those weeks where the community really showed up. And I just don't mean views. Views are great. Subscribers are great. Likes are great. All of that helps. But the comments are where the real stuff is. The comments are where people say the things that maybe they don't say out loud at home. The comments are where someone says, I thought I was the only one. And when that happens, that is not just engagement. That's a connection. And I think sometimes we forget how powerful that is. Because Parkinson's can be such an isolating disease. You can be surrounded by people and still feel like no one really gets what's really happening inside your body. People may see the tremor and they may see freezing. They may see the dyskinesia. They may see the slowness, but they don't always see the mental gymnastics going on behind the scenes. They don't see the calculations. Can I make it across this room? Will I freeze in that doorway? Is my medication kicking in? Is it wearing off? Am I moving too much? Do people think I'm nervous? Do people think I'm drunk? Do people think I'm being dramatic? Can I explain this without turning dinner into a neurological PowerPoint presentation? And that's the stuff that wears people down. It's not always one big thing. Sometimes it's all the little things stacking up like a very rude game of Parkinson's Jenga. And this week we talked about some of those pieces. We talked about dyskinesia. We talked about freezing. And both those topics have something in common. They're not just physical symptoms. No, they hit your confidence. They hit your identity. They hit you the way, you move through the world. And that really matters because Parkinson's is not just a movement disorder in a simple way. People sometimes try to explain it. It really isn't. It's a life disorder. It interrupts movement, yes, but it also interrupts plans. It interrupts confidence and sleep, relationships, work, independence, public moments and private moments. And the tiny little normal things you never thought twice about until Parkinson showed up with a clipboard and started making notes. And this is why I think these conversations matter. Because when we talk about something like freezing, we're not just talking about feet not moving, right? We're talking about what it feels like to stand there while your brain is screaming go and your feet are holding a staff meeting. And apparently nobody invited you to the meeting, right? When we talk about dyskinesia, we're not talking about involuntary movement. We're talking about what it feels like when your body is moving without permission and people are looking at you and you try to act normal and you try to sit still and you try to make it look like everything's fine. Meanwhile, your body has decided to audition for a backup dancer role that you didn't apply for, right? And then there's the care partners. And I want to talk about that for a minute too, because Carmen's Care Partner Corner this week really seemed to connect with people. And I think part of that is because care partners are living a version of Parkinson's too. Now, maybe not the same version, not the physical version, but they are watching and they're adjusting and they're worrying. They're trying to help without making things worse. They're trying to know when to step in and when to step back. And that's not easy. That's not easy at all. Sometimes they get it right. Sometimes they get it wrong. Sometimes they say, just walk because they're scared too and they want to fix it. And sometimes they notice dyskinesia and do not know, whether to mention it or to ignore it. Sometimes they're trying so hard to help that they accidentally turn into a well-meaning traffic controller with emotional baggage. And I say that with love because most care partners are not trying to control. I know they're not. They're not. They're trying to protect. But Parkinson's makes even helping complicated. And that's why one of my favorite lines from Carmen this week was basically this: ask before you assume. And that's huge because every person's different. Some people want the cue. Some people want space. Some people want you to count and some people want you to say nothing and keep things normal. And if you assume wrong, you might accidentally make the person feel watched or corrected. And nobody wants to feel like their body has become a group project, especially not in public. So if you're a care partner watching this, I want to say this clearly. You matter. You matter too. Your stress matters. Your exhaustion matters. Your confusion matters. Your loneliness matters. And you are allowed to need support. You don't have to be the calm one every second of every day. And that's why I'm so glad we have the Care Partners Club inside the club. Because care partners need a place where they can say the honest thing, not the perfect thing, the honest thing. Because sometimes the honest thing is, I love this person, but I'm tired. Sometimes it's, I don't know what to do. Sometimes the honest thing to say is, I feel guilty that I get so frustrated. And that doesn't make you a bad care partner. That makes you a person living inside something really hard. Now, I also want to talk about the comments because I asked people to drop things like me too or frozen in comments. And I know some people might think, okay, that's just a YouTube thing. That's just trying to get engagement. That's just, whatever. And yeah, I'm not going to pretend engagement doesn't matter. It does. The more people comment, the more YouTube knows the video matters and shows it to someone else who may need it. But for me, it's bigger than just that. Because when someone says me too, that's not just a comment. That's a little flag in the ground. It says, I'm here. It says, this happens to me. It says, I thought I was alone, but maybe I'm not. And then someone else scrolls down and sees 20 people saying the same thing. And suddenly their shame has oxygen. And that matters. That's community. And honestly, that is the part of this whole thing that still gets me. Because when I started sharing more publicly, I knew people might relate to some of it. But I don't think I fully understood how many people were sitting at home carrying these symptoms quietly. And not because they were trying to hide, but because they didn't have the words. And sometimes words are the first bit of freedom. If you can name it, you can explain it. If you can explain it, someone else can understand it. And if someone else understands it, maybe you don't have to carry this whole thing alone. And that is why that sentence at the end of the freezing video matters. When I freeze, I'm not choosing to stop. My brain is having trouble starting the movement, and I may need a second, a cue, or a space to rest. The simple sentence, but simple is the point. Because if in the middle of a hard moment, nobody needs a paragraph with footnotes. You need something you can say when your brain is already doing jazz hands in a burning library. And the same thing with dyskinesia. I'm noticing involuntary moments around this time, usually this long after my dose, and mostly in this part of my body. And they seem worse when this happens. It's not fancy, but it's useful. And sometimes useful is better than perfect. Actually, let's be honest. With Parkinson's, useful is almost always better than perfect. Perfect is usually off somewhere making unrealistic demands and wearing uncomfortable shoes. So here's what I think this week proved. People don't only need information. They need the language. They need examples. They need someone to say, yes, that weird thing that you're experiencing is real. And they need someone to say, no, you're not lazy. No, you're not dramatic. No, you're not making it up. No, you're not the only one. And they need to hear it from someone who actually lives it. And not because doctors are not important. Doctors are incredibly important. Good doctors can change your life. But lived experience fills a different gap. A doctor can explain freezing, but another person with Parkinson's can say, I know what it feels like when your feet stop you and your pride takes a punch. A doctor can explain dyskinesia, but another person with Parkinson's can say, I know what it feels like when your body moves and you start scanning the room to see who's noticing. A doctor can talk about medication timing, but another person with Parkinson's, they can say, I know what it feels like when your whole day is being negotiated in 3-hour windows. And that's why they both matter. Medical information matters, but lived experience matters too. Care partners' perspectives matters. Community matters. And when those things come together, people feel less alone. Now, I want to be careful here too, because a good week online does not mean Parkinson's suddenly behaved. Wouldn't that be nice? Congratulations, Bryce. Your video did well. Parkinson's has agreed to take Thursday off. I wish. No. Parkinson's doesn't care about analytics. Parkinson's does not care about comments. Parkinson's does not care if the thumbnail is finally good after I complain about it 17 times. And I will complain about it 17 times. That's Carmen. But sometimes those thumbnails look like they were designed by a raccoon with Wi-Fi. But a good week means the message is getting out. It means people are finding the videos or the podcast, and it means someone is watching and saying, okay, this helps. And for me, that's the part that keeps me going, because I know what it feels like to need that. I know what it feels like to be scared. I know what it feels like to wonder what's coming next. And I know what it feels like to think, is this normal for Parkinson's, or is this my body inventing premium bonus nonsense? And when someone leaves a comment saying, thank you, I needed this, that really hits me every time, because I need it too. And maybe that is what doing life really is. It's not pretending Parkinson's is fine. It's not pretending we're positive every second. It's not pretending symptoms are inspirational just because we put music under them. It's telling the truth and then refusing to disappear. That's the whole thing. Tell the truth. Find your people. Keep showing up. Even when the day is weird, even when your feet don't move, even when your body moves too much, and even when your sleep was garbage, which is usually all the time. And even when your meds are playing hide and go seek. Even when your brain is running on dial-up internet, you keep showing up. Not perfectly, sometimes not gracefully, and not always with matching socks, but you show up. And if this week reminded me of anything, it reminded me that people are hungry for real, not polished, not fake, not everything wrapped up in a neat little bow, but real, the good, the bad, and the reality. And that's why the show exists. That's why this community exists. That's why the comments matter. And that's why the club matters. And that's why I keep doing what I'm doing. So here's my question for you this week. What was the one moment in the recent videos where you said, me too? Was it freezing? Was it dyskinesia? Was it sleep? Was it off periods? Maybe it was something Carmen said. Maybe it was a comment that someone else left. Drop it in the comments of this one, please. Just write me too if that's all you have the energy for, that's fine. Or tell us the full story if you want. Because your comment might be the thing that helps someone else feel less alone. And if you're watching this and you're new here, welcome. I'm glad you found us. This is not a perfect corner of the internet. Thank goodness. You know what? Perfect corners of the internet are suspicious and usually try to sell you something like a smoothie. This is a real corner. And we talk about Parkinson's honestly here. We laugh when we can. We complain when we need to. And we support each other. And we keep doing life today. And if that sounds like your kind of place, then hit subscribe. It's free and helps more people find these conversations. And also, if you haven't joined the club yet, come on and check it out. It's free. And really, it's just a Parkinson's community built for real people living real life with Parkinson's, and care partners too, because nobody should have to do this alone. The link is in the description below, and I want you to come and see me there. And as always, thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for letting Carmen and me into your homes, your kitchens, your living rooms, your phones, your tablets, and whatever else device you're using, while pretending that you are not also watching videos about dogs wearing sunglasses. And there's no judgment. This is a safe space. But anyway, thank you. I love you. Keep showing up. You keep being real. You keep doing life today. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Have a great Saturday.